All right, welcome back to Electric Bilodeau. Another big week here as AEW Wrestling getting ready to come to the North Charleston Coliseum coming up tonight for Rampage and Dynamite. We had Orange Cassidy on the show last week. Matt Hardy was in the studio yesterday to preview the show. I got a few extra minutes with him after that to talk about tonight's show and talk about his career in the world of pro wrestling. So here's what Matt Hardy had to say. All right, the first ever one-on-one in-person Electric Bilodeau, and I can't think of anyone better to have here than All Elite Wrestling's Matt Hardy. Matt, thanks so much.
You got it. Very happy to be here with you.
So we were talking earlier about All Elite Wrestling coming to the North Charleston Coliseum. When this airs, it'll be later on tonight on Wednesday. And like we said, for a North Carolina boy coming back to South Carolina, it's always a big time for you.
Anytime I'm in the Carolinas, it feels like home. It feels like my people. You know what I mean? Carolinians. So yeah, man, I love coming to Charleston.
We talked about you've been doing this for more than 2 decades, coming closer to 3 decades now.
32 years.
That's ridiculous.
I started in 1992. October 15th, 1992 was my first wrestling match in front of a crowd that I actually got paid for. It was with a hot dog, but that's how it started.
That's still a paycheck of some kind. But, you know, you see guys getting out of this business, you know, in less than 10 years now. What's kept you doing it for this long?
I think just my passion for it. I mean, I grew up as a kid, and to be a pro wrestler was myself and my brother's dream. And we were able to attain that dream. So, like, I want to do it as long as I can just because I'm passionate about it. You know, the old expression they say, if you're going to work and it's something you love, it's not really a job, you know, and that's how this feels. It just feels like I am having fun and I'm getting paid for it. So I love it. My body will dictate whenever I stop.
We talked about wrestling here in Charleston. Do you have any memories that stand out to you from here in the Lowcountry?
Yeah, I remember we had a tag team title match defense, myself and my brother, the WWF tag team titles, which was a very unique match, which really stands out. I always remember the Charleston building just because of that match. It got crazy in the ring. But also I love coming here when I can spend time, especially with my wife, and we can go downtown and see some of the sights and eat in some of the great restaurants and whatnot, because there's a lot of great culture here in Charleston as well.
I tried to look up your first match that you had here in Charleston, and the closest thing I could find, as far as being a professional, closest one I could find was I think in '94, and it was you and Jeff against Bart and Billy Gunn, the Guns, over at the Coliseum.
That's correct. I was going to say that. I remember that. That was our first match here. Yeah, that's before we were hired. We were enhancement talent to go out and make these guys look good, and that was the first one. How crazy is it that myself, Jeff, and Billy are still in the same company, still doing this now?
I was just going to say, the fact that 3 of the 4 of you, 2.5 decades later, are still doing this is insane. The fact that you can remember that is crazy too.
I do remember that because that was our first time ever being in the Charleston arena.
I wanted to talk about backstage at AEW a little bit, because it seems like now pretty much every other wrestler has a podcast, which I know you have, and yours is very successful. So many people have podcasts. What's the backstage area like? Is just everyone grabbing each other and going on each other's shows throughout the day?
No, it's very friendly. There are people that have podcasts. I know Jericho is one that will grab you quick, and he'll jump on a podcast. If someone's new and they're starting, he'll be the first one to snatch them up and grab them. But no, we really enjoy each other's company. It's a great work environment. Everyone is very friendly. It's a good crew, and there's a great synergy backstage right now.
To still have your brother doing this as well, just how much does that mean? You guys have been together for so long. Just to have each other to lean on at this point of your careers, what does that mean to you guys?
It means everything to me. I mean, because we grew up sharing that dream. We had the same goal, and our goal was to be the WWE World Tag Team Champions one time. And if we did that, then we succeeded. We achieved everything we wanted. And obviously we exceeded that many times over. So what is on our bucket list right now, what we want to do, what is our end game, is to win the AEW World Tag Team titles, because that's the only major tag team title that we haven't held here in America.
And to have a goal like that, I mean, you guys are right on the cusp too. You guys have been doing so well these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of weeks, and I think there's a tweak going on to our characters, which is interesting. It's a twist that's never been done. We've specifically never done it, but I want to feel like we hear at signings all the time. People come up to us and they go, "Oh my God, you were my childhood." Or they come on and say, "Oh my God, thank you for giving me a great childhood. I got in trouble because I jumped off the roof and I broke my bed or broke the couch." And and we hear that all the time. So Jeff and I, we said, what if we lean into that and we kind of start getting a little bit of the big-headed Hardys, and we start playing it up a little bit like, well, of course, we're doing everyone a favor by being here. We created the AEW work style. You know, if it wasn't for us, there wouldn't be Young Bucks. They're just, you know, Hardys cosplayers. You know, that's what they're doing. If it wasn't for us, there wouldn't be any Top Flight. And just kind of lean into that. And I think the big-headed Hardys is something that has a lot of potential.
I can personally attest that there are some tables at the University of Hartford that were broken by me and roommates trying to impersonate you guys back, 20-something years ago that can say that, people grew up watching you guys.
I mean, and it's wild. I mean, we came along at just the right time, and the fact that we were able to have a ladder match and then that table match, and that started the whole TLC phenomenon. And that match kind of changed the course of wrestling in some ways because it became a staple of pro wrestling, and we were the forefathers of that, so to say. So we hear from so many people like, oh my God, we came in just at the right time. Wrestling was so hot, and you guys were my favorites, and you guys made me feel okay to dress differently or look differently. And I think a lot of people relate to myself and Jeff, especially back then, because everyone was a bigger, larger-than-life giant, and we seemed like someone who was attainable. They could be friends with us. And our fans have been so great and so loyal. Every night we come out in AEW, I'm so appreciative and grateful. We still get one of the biggest reactions every single night because the people that support us are in it for the long haul, and I love them the most.
And at this stage of your career, to be able to tweak the character a little bit has to be, exciting for you guys to change things up a little bit.
Yeah, and especially for Jeff. I think because Jeff's going into some territory he's never done before, which is really cool for him because he's such a unique enigma in many, many ways. I love changing characters. I mean, I'm the guy who did Broken Matt Hardy. It doesn't get much more extravagant and outrageous than that in many ways. So, yeah, I'm very excited for what the future holds for us.
Before we let you go, who is someone in AEW that you're excited to watch at this point in your career that, every week when they go out, you're like, I have to be by the monitor to see what this guy's doing?
I mean, I think that's Sting. I mean, we're coming up on his final match, which is going to be in Greensboro. Hell yeah, I love that. Because, Greensboro, I saw him wrestle there many, many times when I was growing up as a young kid. And Sting is just such an amazing guy. I knew him a little bit at TNA when I worked there. And then it's been so great to get to know him here at AEW. And he's just so inspirational to be of an advanced stage and still performing the way he performs. And I love everything about what he does, and I never try and miss a Sting's match.
Awesome. Matt Hardy, we can't wait for Wednesday night, All Elite Wrestling over at the North Charleston Coliseum. All right, thanks so much to Matt Hardy for joining us here yesterday on Electric Bilodeau. Now, as I said, that show over at the North Charleston Coliseum starts tonight at 7 o'clock. Still a few tickets available if you're going to make it over there. I'll be over there live at 7 o'clock for our 7 o'clock newscast with a final preview of the show, which should be a solid one. Samoa Joe going to be defending the AEW World Championship against Hook, so that's the main event coming for tonight. A lot of other good matches coming up as well. Now, we're going to be back here on Friday with the Friday Night Lights tailgate, looking back on everything that's happened this week and everything coming up this weekend. For now, we will see you back here next Wednesday for our next Electric Bilodeau.